This is like take 5 of me trying to make a little video talking about this. So I'm not I'm not gonna be one of those YouTubers who are like quote unquote anti woke or what do you call them? Get woke, go broke kind of shit. But I do agree that the trying to pander to us to the smaller group, that's number one. There's a larger group. There's a group that there's many more people of at large that are into this kind of thing in fiction. Like they like this. And what they don't want, and I feel like they're justified in feeling this way, is they don't want people coming along invading what they have and changing it to something that they don't like. And they're the majority. All right. And it feels like there's this group of women who, number one, they want to punish men. We're not allowed to look at attractive characters. They're allowed to look at attractive characters all day long, All day long they want their chisel, men with chiseled chests and what. There's like this double standard. By the way, I hate double standards. And the double standard is that it's okay for women to have characters that they can fawn over in media, but it's not okay for men to have characters to fawn over in media. And here's what confuses the hell out of me about this is there are lesbians out there who love this. I've talked to quite a few lesbians who actually are very into these kind of characters. I mean, they're lesbians, They're lesbians and they love this. So what is this weird group of people who keep invading the mediums that we have and just making women look as masculine as possible and as unattractive as possible? I'm trying to understand this. And it is a thing that happens. As to why it happens, I don't know. I don't know. I know it's weird and I know it's annoying. And by no means am I on the right with this kind of crap. I'm not. I just I feel like, it's a matter of who cares. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But instead of just not liking it and not watching it, it does feel like there's these groups that instead of just not watching it, invade it, just force their way into a medium and push their views. All right, and this pandering stuff is nonsense. It loses them money. I'm not trying to be the go get woke go broke bros. I'm not, but facts are facts. Is that there are people invading both Hollywood and the anime industry and video game industry, and they're just trying to force they're trying to undo something we had in the 80s and 90s. Does anybody remember, how sex sells? And it still to this day sells. It sells to a lot of people. And that's not to say pornography sells. It's sexuality sells. Attractiveness sells. And it's true. To this day, it's true. And there is a fear, and I get it, that we are going to see more and more of this invasion of these small groups into the mediums of things that we like and just absolutely censor everything that we love, And I get that. And here's what pisses me off, and it's one of the reasons that I left Rich. I stopped going to Rich's channel. It's one of the reasons. There's many reasons, but one of the reasons that I had for taking off is I was tired of some of his dumbass arguments. Like he's pushing so hard to be on the left in some ways that he will call out people who have an issue with censorship. I'm like, dude, they're calling people don't like censorship. That's just, I don't know. So it's weird to me that you would get pissed off at people who are just tired of censorship. That is so. I remember when we got pissed off at being censored, and now we're all for. There's people who are all for censorship if it makes them and their small group of people happy. But one of the things that pissed me off about Rich is, and I couldn't tell him, he wouldn't have listened. And Silent Hill 2, at one point, they undone some things, by the way, for those who weren't paying attention. But Silent Hill 2 Remake, if you play the original Silent Hill 2, there is a complete story and a means to an end when it comes to the character designs. All right. So there's the one character, and I keep forgetting her name, and I suck because I can't remember her name. But you know who I'm talking about. She's there through a good portion of the game, and she's part of the town. She is meant. She is part of the town, and she's meant to be temptation. So she's supposed to be sexy. That's a part of the original. And that's what one of the things that was irritating people with the remake. And it was such a problem that even Konami noticed this and later on had people go back and adjust her everything. They made her more feminine. They adjusted jawline, and they adjusted her breast size. She's supposed to be sexy. So when people scream out about the woke in that game, it's one of the few times, and I couldn't have this argument with him. Couldn't, because I'm a nobody. He doesn't care about nobodies. He will have arguments and call out people when he thinks it'll make him, this is how it seems to me, will make rich or gain rich some subscribers. So, and I wanted to have this argument with him, but there was no way to have this argument with him. And he wouldn't have listened to it anyways. But the facts are facts. It's the one time where people screaming woke were correct. It's the one time. Of course, I still hate that word. The pandering, is correct. People who were pissed off about the pandering were correct in feeling that way. I'm not really worried about the change of outfit that they did. It is what it is. But making her not attractive was weird because she's meant to be very attractive. She's meant to persuade James to go off and go another direction or to give up or whatever. All right. She's she's meant to be, she's basically the bad guy. I don't think he's ever played the game all the way through, so he doesn't even fucking know. And that's what irritates me about Rich. It's one of the reasons that I fucking left. And I was just so fed up with his bullshit. And he would fucking argue over this shit with people and mock people about this shit. But the truth is the truth. I don't think he's ever played the game all the way through. You fight her at the end. She starts doing these transformations back and forth. Like, she literally takes on the form of his dead wife. And then from there turns into this monster version of his wife tied to, like, the bed floating around with insane, weird crap everywhere. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. But it's the end of the game that makes it click. It makes you go, oh, yeah, she's meant to be temptation. She's supposed to be attractive. So when they made her have really small breasts, and even Konami recognized what was going on. Because, like I said, afterwards they released a patch that fixed her looks, got rid of the square jawline. And it wasn't just because they noticed what was wrong, it's because Japanese gamers were noticing what was going on. And I know it's not helping my case having this, all these things to say when I try to say I'm not like the anti-woke crowd, because I'm really not. First off, I've dated trans women, number one. I don't want to be a loser and call myself a quote-unquote ally, because I hated when Boogie 298 did that shit. He would say, I'm an ally, I'm an ally. I'm not going to make that claim. But I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not one of these people who are anti-gay, anti all this other crap. What I am is anti-pandering. Pandering to a smaller subset of the market. And believe it or not, the people who don't like breasts and they don't like attractive female characters, right? That small group, that subset, all right, if they don't like the breasts and stuff, just don't watch. Stop trying to force your way into fandoms because there's a lot of these folks that they don't like the fandom. They like what they wish the fandom was. They're like, oh, I want to be a part of this, but they got to change this. You got to change this, and you got to change this. You shouldn't have this. You shouldn't have this. You should. I'm just. It's obnoxious. That is why we have some gatekeepers. That said, I feel like some gatekeepers are assholes. Like you could be more chill about your gatekeeping and stop just being horrible because a lot of these people are also there's like a cross section between and the anti woke crowd and the crowd who hates gay people, hates trans people, hates this and hates that. They're just filled with absolute hate. I just don't like seeing things that I like being trampled over. I don't like seeing things that I enjoy being destroyed by a small group of people. That's all I hate. But that doesn't mean that I am against people being gay. I'm not against anybody who transitions. I'm not against anybody like that. Yeah, I know this is coming from the same guy at one point who had an issue with the whole idea of being non binary. And I still hold to that. I still do. I think that's a bit of a ridiculous notion in my mind. And I know I'm not making any allies here, but here's the thing me sitting here and telling you my opinion on something shouldn't be taken as me trying to make you unhappy. That's you. There's people who will twist that and try to make it like I want them to be unhappy. Oh, you don't want me to exist. No, I just disagree with something. Like, I'm not like the rest of these assholes on YouTube and whatnot, the anti woke and shit. I'm not. It begins and ends with, hey, I disagree. It ends with that. I don't go out of my way to make you fucking miserable. All right? I'm not going to. Live your life. Call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. Feel what you want to feel about yourself. You know, all of that. It's fine. But that doesn't mean I can't sit here and go and voice that I disagree with it. And for you to just automatically take it as I want you to be unhappy. That's not how I function. It's not. We've become a society where you can't even disagree with something without it turning into a fight. And I've seen people on the far left who they don't want to have a discussion. There's people who do, but then there's the ones that don't. And they will use all kinds of weird wordings and whatnot. And it's so cringe and obnoxious and uncalled for. Look, bottom line, live your life, but stop trying to ruin everybody else's lives. That's the thing is that I'm trying to get across here. Live and let live. All right? You may not be into what's going on here. Can't say I really care about it all that much, to be honest. But I'm not going to go out of my way to erase this kind of thing from from everything, really. You know, and the good thing about about a free market is for every game that gets ruined by a group of whiny sort of idiots. I don't know how else to put it. There is an indie group that is going to come along and make a game with the content you want. There are groups that are going to come along. And the industry will be able to tell and they will be able to see when something sells well. There are games that came out that capitalized big time on like sexuality like we used to do in the 80s and 90s. And those games blew up. Even if they weren't great games, they still blew up. Do you actually think shareholders aren't paying attention? The best thing for anybody to do who doesn't like something is to just not buy it. Don't participate. Your side will win out. I guarantee you your side will win out. But making the tons of videos being quote unquote just being anti woke, which really just means I hate gay people, I hate trans people. And I'm tired of that too. You know, this is why I used to not really be too far on either side. I was more of a moderate, but I've become, gonna be honest, I'm way more on the left than I used to be. And that's because I've seen the insanity on the far right. There is some extremism and some hatred on the right. Just all kinds of hatred and vile racism and shit on the right. It's fucking ridiculous. And so I'm way more on the left than I used to be. But that doesn't mean I agree with everything on the left. Like for instance, and I'll touch on one other thing really quickly. There's this thing on the left having to do with voice acting, and this goes back to double standards. And as I checked, double standards are wrong. Where it's okay for somebody who's not white to be the voice actor for a character that is white, but it's not okay for somebody who is white to voice a character that's not white. You see what I'm saying? And of course, I hate even using the terminology white. The last time somebody out in public actively referred to me as a white guy, I stopped and looked at him and said, "I'm not white, man. Do I look like Casper the Friendly Fucking Ghost? I ain't no motherfucking white. I'm beige, bitch." Because I'm not white. There's no such thing as white. Nobody's fucking white. Because if we were white, we would be the color of her suit. Look at this. You can see. You can. Oh, I'm so sick of this crap. Look at how white that part of her outfit is. Compare it to this. Hell, there's white right there. That's white. That's not white. Look at that. White. Right there here is white. That's not white. That's not white. That's not white. That's more white. That's very white. This isn't white. That's like a beige. And it's just the same thing with what I've been saying about my skin color. I'm beige, damn it. I ain't white. There's no such thing as white people. I mean, I guess I've seen some albinos in my life that were white as snow, but that's different than Caucasians. Caucasians. You know, a lot of us were not white, so I'm sick of that. I think the moment we stop thinking of ourselves as just straight up one simplicity of a color, it'll be better. People keep saying they're black, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're brown. You're brown. And the people that we call brown are like caramel, right? Tell me I'm wrong. They're not really brown. It's like, I'm so sick of the people treating black and brown people bad. I'm like, don't you mean brown and caramel? It's like, nobody's straight up black this as far as I've ever seen in my life. Just pure black, as far as I've ever seen. And nobody's pure white. It just doesn't fucking exist. And I think part of why we still have so much racism, which, I'm sorry, racism is dumb. Racism is based on stupidity. It just is. It's based on intolerance and stupidity and just hatred for somebody different. I fucking hate racism. Because if you ever were to just stop and think about it, we're one race. We're called the human race, regardless of skin color. We're instead of calling it racism, why don't we call it something more along the lines of tribism or something? Because we're all just different tribes, man. That's it. And it's funny because people act like white people were never in a situation where they were like natives or anybody else. Like, oh, white people never lived it. Yes, yeah. Caucasians definitely. We at one point, especially Irish. The Irish and the Scottish, man, you look up anything about them, they used to live almost like natives, live face paint the whole fucking 9 yards. You think it's just people who were black or, Ethiopians and whatnot? Hell no. Every culture, every tribe on this planet started off similar in caves, and then we moved on to huts and whatnot. We had warrior paint and whatnot. It just fucking existed. Every single culture, every single tribe has gone through this at one point in history. So just acting like we're so different from each other is part of the problem. When in reality, we're so fucking similar, it's unreal. We're all just very similar. We're very, very, very close together. And we need to start acting like it and stop hating each other for being so different. And I feel like that goes for comedy too. Let's talk about that real quickly. I know this video is going on kind of long, but let's talk about comedy for a minute. I am so sick of the jokes that compare people who aren't black to people who are black. Or should I say, beige to brown people. Let's put it like that. I'm so sick of that shit. And they'll sit there and they'll say, oh, well, for argument's sake, we'll say, I'm going to use the words they use. White people, y'all, just as an example, y'all don't know how to mind y'all's business. You ever seen the aliens in the movies and sky? Those motherfuckers be getting out and looking at it with their hands in the air like, ooh. Not us. What we do, we get inside, we lock the goddamn door, we stay the fuck away. We are keeping our noses clean. Da, 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 da. I hate that joke because there are white people who are the same fucking way. And then there's the confusion with white people, quote unquote, that don't like spice in their food and what they don't like seasoning. I'm like, those are people with allergies, man. Because I know, because that's how I am nowadays. But my point being is this: acting like just because our skin color is so drastically different, that we're so fucking different is ridiculous. When it comes to white people, I'm not sorry for saying this, but we come in all shapes and sizes, man. And 9 times out of 10, the white people that get mocked are the hoity-toity white people, the Midwestern uppity hoity-toity white people, and they make their jokes based around that. You know what I'm saying? And so the jokes that we see is always in comparison to northern fancy white people. And I'm like, dude, have you not hung around white people in the South? Like, it baffles me, all the hatred in the South. I'm in Texas. And I will be around those people who hate black people, but then I'll hang around black people and I'll be like, Jesus Christ, do these same white people over here realize how fucking similar they are to the black people they hate? It's fucking insane. It's so damn insane. And I think the other thing that bugs me about this, white people don't know how to use seasoning and spices and blah, blah, blah. Where the hell did you think that you learned that shit from? Your families, I guarantee you learned a lot of your cooking from your fam that was passed down over time from the slave owners from back in the day. I know I'm probably ruffling some feathers right now, but it's the goddamn truth. Everything that you think that's part of just your culture, that you're the only ones that are like this, is absolute bullshit. It is the most ridiculous thing ever. And again, that's what keeps us hating each other. We need to stop hating each other and start realizing how similar we are. And that's another thing. Just because you have a certain skin color doesn't mean you got to talk a certain way, doesn't mean you got to eat certain foods, doesn't mean you have to listen to certain music. It doesn't mean anything. And I know that pisses people off too. Your skin color doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything as far as you as a human being. And that's why I don't hate anybody based on anything except who they are as a person. If I get to know you and I think you're a piece of shit, then you're a piece of shit to me. I don't give a shit what your skin color is. And I'm so sick of, that's why we hate each other so much. Is we're not willing to look at the similarities, and we try to act like our skin color is our whole identity. It isn't. It isn't our identity. It's never been our identity. Nobody's identity. We're just people. And we're people that need to get along better. And that includes worrying about people who are gay or straight or bi or trans, so on and so forth. It doesn't fucking matter. It's their lives to live. You shouldn't hate them over them just living their lives. You go ahead and live your life how you want. Let them live their lives how they want. And stop being terrible. All right? Just stop. Stop with all this argument. Stop thinking that you're getting a one-up over somebody else you hate because they're different. Just stop. That's why we're in the mess we're in right now as far as our political system goes. Because we had people this last election, this last presidential election, who voted based on hatred. You motherfuckers voted based on your hatred of people who are different. And now we're stuck with this orange piece of fucking shit who is fucking us all over. We're all getting screwed in the ass. All of us. We're all getting financially screwed. We're all, you know who our enemies are? It's not your black neighbor. It's not your Latina neighbor, your gay neighbor, your trans neighbors or anything. They're not the ones that fought for your misery. The wealthy people are at fault for your fucking misery. Stop hating on other people that are just living their goddamn lives when the ones that are the enemy are the wealthy motherfuckers in this country. All right? They're the ones fucking us over. They're the ones that keep us down. The wealthy in this country, I'm talking Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon dipshit Musk. Those are the ones you would blame. Those are the ones that should be our enemy, but they keep us divided and against each other because it benefits them and they can keep screwing us over financially. You want to see things get better? Stop voting based on bullshit like party affiliation and vote based on the individual. Vote based on what they're actually going to do for us and for society as a whole. The wealthy in this country need to be shown the fucking door. And this is one of the things that I agree with Rich. Let's talk about that real quick. Here's one of the things that I fucking agree with Rich. Billionaires shouldn't exist. Hallelujah. Billionaires should not exist. I'm sorry, but the fact that oh god, what is his name? Gabe Newell is like a billionaire. Dude does not need to be a billionaire. He's got some kind of mega fucking yacht. He practically lives on and does a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, wow, okay. I don't think he should be a billionaire. I know what he's done. Nothing excuse him just because he's helped the industry, the game industry and whatnot, just because he's done a lot of good things for the industry doesn't mean he should be exempt from this. I'm going to say it right now, and I'll say it from the goddamn mountaintop, and it needs to be listened to. But billionaires shouldn't exist. In the fucking story, I don't care who they are. You shouldn't be a billionaire because here's what happens when they become billionaires. They want more power. It's like they got all the money in the world, now they want all the control in the world, and they will fuck us all over to get to it. Stop blaming people who are gay, trans, bi, black, Latino. Stop fucking blaming that shit and blame the people who are billionaires. Blame those motherfuckers. And stop letting them brainwash you. They're your fucking enemies. I sat here with boobies on my screen the whole fucking time. Animated, drawn boobies while I made that argument. I just had so much to get out, man. We got to start getting along. I'm so sick of people fighting over the most ridiculous shit. There's other things we need to be fighting over. You know that, right? There's things that make way more sense for us to fight over. Oh, the establishment has us over a desk, banging us out. I'm saying this whole video is gonna be put down as fucking adult. I swear to God, we're this video's not gonna go over well. Anyhow, I'm out.